Okay, this is our second session of the life of Jan Roussel. And Julie said that I needed to ask you about the chicken story with the Bible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So can you tell me your chicken story?
and you get it on there?
It's all recorded right now.
Well, I love to watch the chickens. We had lots of chickens, and when the mother hen would have a batch, they would run in our yard. We would let them run in the yard, not with the main chickens, because there was babies. And every time anything strange happened, or noises or odds or anything, the mother hen would go cock, 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 and they'd just come running, and she'd open up her wings and they would run under her wings, and she'd close them down. And then when it was better, some of the chickens were braver than others. Once in a while one would come out and sit up on her back.
Sit on her back?
Yeah. And it always, whenever I heard the story in the Bible about Jesus said that he could save every one of the Israelites. I think he was speaking, or the Jewish or something, and he said, like a hen gathered her chickens under her wings to protect them. And that always intrigued me.
Because it connected with your experience with the chickens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he says, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how I've longed to gather you under my wings.
That's how it goes, huh?
Like a mother hen.
I knew it was
gathers her
something like
chicks.
that. Mm-hmm.
You know, I always figured that must have been like a real thing, but I've never seen chickens do that. So you got to actually see it in action.
Yeah, I've seen it in action
Pretty
many
cool.
times. Uh-huh.
Huh.
Sometimes you would know that the danger was, because you could see it. Sometimes it might be just an animal, or sometimes it was a snake or something, you know.
And she'd call the chicks.
And that mother she watched out for those chickens, and she would do that. And it was a special cock type thing that said, "Come quick." You could just imagine it. Come quick.
So it sounded different than her regular clucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, with the dogs, we could tell different barks. They have like a scared bark and an excited bark and all that. So, yeah, it makes sense. That's pretty cool. So, last time you talked about being born in Driftwood on the island. And then we talked a little bit about, I think, your parents' farm that they bought after you had grown up.
Yeah.
But I don't think we talked about like other places you lived and stuff. So is there anything there that you remember? Like, did you pretty much grow up in one house, or was there like several? Did the family move around a little bit, or?
Oh, we moved quite often at first. James was born there by the Old Lebanon Cemetery, right across the street from it.
From where?
From the Old Lebanon Cemetery, there by near where Grandpa and Grandma lived.
The house that they lived in when I was a kid?
No.
Oh, your grandparents lived. Oh, okay. What town was that in? Do you remember?
It wasn't a town. It was on the highway from between Powhatan and Lynn.
So they had a house across the street from the cemetery.
Yeah, at one time that was where.
But then they moved onto this island in Driftwood, and that's where you were born.
Well, I'm assuming that Clarence might have been born in that same house, both of them at that house, because no one ever told me where Clarence was born for some reason. And then for years I didn't know that I was different either, but then I found out later that they told me that that's where I was born at Driftwood. So that was down, I guess, southwest of Lynn, and on a river or in a river or something. And then after that, I was born there. Then they moved to Black Rock, which was across the river from Black Rock, which was Black River, the river. And there, that flooded real bad. And then my Uncle Orse and Aunt Winnie lived there. And that was where I was born, so they probably only had Ella and Imogene at the time, because Imogene and I are close to age. But then they had 2 little ones, and then Mom and Dad had 3 little ones. And we had to move to a higher ground to get out of the flood, and we lived in a house that had just a ground floor.
Oh, I remember you
both
saying
both families lived in there while the flood was up.
that was in Black Rock?
Mm-hmm.
So both families were living together in the same house, is what you're saying?
No, I don't think so, except that we had to go in that way because of the flood, because there's no place else to go.
Okay, so they had their own houses, but
Yeah.
close to each other, up higher, but they were just dirt floor houses.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you remember living in that house, or were you still too young?
I was still too young. Then the next year, oh boy, it left me. Franklin would be born next. So help me right now, I can't remember.
That's fine.
But then after Franklin, then we moved to the Black River Bottoms on the bay I was talking to you about the other time. And then Margie, Shirlene, and Charles were born in that house. We lived in that house the longest of any.
So when you say a bay, was there a lake there, or a pond, or is it just what they called the bay?
Well, the river wasn't far from the bay, and every time it flooded, that caused that to stay water all the time.
Oh,
and
that's
it was,
right.
And it was called a bay.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Now, across from our house, down just across the road, was where we called a pond. It had water in it too. It was a low place. It had cypress trees growing all the way around it.
So the bay was kind of like a low ground by the river, and it would flood.
It wasn't real close to the river, but it always flooded, and it had a ditch across the road that run up into our field, and that's how come that Clarence found all the crayfish, because when the flood came up, it washed all the crayfish up into our low area in the field, and that's when Clarence and I had a crayfish eat.
So they picked them all up and cooked them?
Yeah, we did. Clarence took a iron skillet and then some, I don't know if he took butter or probably lard. We used lard back then. And he picked them all apart. And
So that's the first house you remember actually living in, that you could remember?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. And was that most of your childhood there, or did you guys move again?
We lived there until I was 13. And then we moved above Black Rock again by Spring River. And we lived there 1 year. And I graduated from school, but the other that year there, we went to a school called Mount Vernon, and we walked to school there. And I graduated there from the 8th grade.
I remember you talking about Spring River.
Yeah.
Was Spring River the river that had the rickety bridge on it that we drove across that one time?
Yes.
That's why I remember it.
That's
I
right.
can remember going over that
Do
bridge.
you remember seeing it after the bridge fell in?
No.
You don't remember that?
It seems like I remember it was really foggy or something when we drove across it, but that might be a bad memory. But I remember Dad driving over that
Oh
because
yeah.
it was just a wooden bridge that was just swinging, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it would go like that. It was scary.
I bet. I would not want to drive over it. So your parents were moving around because they were changing farms that they were renting on? Is that what it was?
Yeah, he would change the farms. I don't know if he wasn't. I don't know if they weren't happy with what they were, or he was just. I don't know why, but that's the way we went.
Huh. I'm gonna move this just a hair more.
And then when we left there. That was my school year, 13 and 14. We moved there. We moved up by Imboden, and we lived there 1 year.
Just 1 year.
By a rock quarry, and it was close to Spring River, and it used to be well, there was a train track came around there, and it used to be quite popular to stop place. And then there was also a ferry boat that run that Spring River. We learned after we moved there, then we moved over to the Spring River, the house probably where you remember. Do you remember that one?
No.
Okay, it's on Spring River also, and that was in Randolph County, the other side of Spring River, from where you talked about going across the bridge. And there's a big house set, like the road went down to the river, and the road went up this way to a hill, and up on the hill was a big house, and that once was like a hotel thing, and these ferry boats and people stayed there in that house. And they come from up the river to go to other places, see.
I imagine you guys were driving over that bridge because you were just going to see where they used to live, or maybe there was some family over there. I don't remember why we went over that Spring River Bridge, but I only remember that last house they owned.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can remember at all.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys must have just went over there. Maybe you guys were even looking for a cemetery for some genealogy stuff or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either.
Yeah. So did you continue in school, or did you graduate 8th grade and you were done?
I didn't go that school year because we didn't want to go to Imboden school. My dad trucked all the other kids, Franklin and the other three, back and forth to the Mount Vernon that year, but James, Clarence, and I never went anymore to school there. But after that year we lived there, we moved to the Spring River, and we lived in the Whitmire place, 1 year, and it was way back in the woods, and it was quite far from the schoolhouse, and it had a one-room schoolhouse. And since I wanted to go to school, too bad I loved it, I went back to school 1 year there after I was that old.
So that would have been sort of like ninth grade then for you?
Well, it was still, it was just a review, the 8th grade, really.
Huh? So how did you get there if you're so far back in the woods? Did your
Well,
parents take you? Or?
that's what I'm saying. We walked it that year, but
Oh.
that was the year. But then that's when we moved over on the McCarroll place, the one where I thought you remembered us by the where I told you that went up. It was closer to the river.
Why is it called McCarroll and Whitmer? That was like
That's who owned them.
So that's who you were renting from.
Mm-hmm.
They had the farms too that he was renting from. Probably.
They got what?
So was the McCarroll family not only own the house, but did they have the farmland that your dad was farming?
Yeah, they owned it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really like tenant farmers. You were living in their house and working their land, huh?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay. And then after that, where'd you guys move to then?
We lived there until I came up here.
Oh. Did you keep going to school?
Oh, I went the first year in the 9th grade at Black Rock. And then I went part of the year in the 10th grade. And I was so ashamed that I was so much older than the kids. I dropped out and I started homeschooling myself from an American school that I got mail from.
So it was like a mail order school program.
Yeah, and then I went to the 11th grade there. I mean, I did that through books and things like that.
Huh. Because you actually finished high school up here in Flint, right?
Yeah, that's why I didn't see. I left then, home and everything, and went to Florida first.
Well, we'll get to that. But yeah, when you came up to Flint, was it like an adult education thing to finish up high school kind of a thing?
It was the night school.
Did you get a high school diploma or was it like a GED? I don't know if they had those.
I got a high school diploma.
So they gave you a high school diploma.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a kid, you had a biology book from there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that book?
Yes, I do, and I hated losing that. I gave it to CJ because his friends and them were going to have a test on it, and they needed to study it, and it would help them. And I told them I'd like to have it back, but I never got it back. I don't know where it went to.
Yeah, there's I remember that book of yours, and then I remember Dad's Latin textbook from Beecher that I still have. It's in my office in there.
Oh.
I have his Latin book. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get it out and look at it as a kid because I've always liked languages. And so, yeah. And then I do remember Dad had a copy of Don Quixote in Spanish.
No.
From his Spanish class,
Mm.
which I just read a month or so ago in Spanish. It's kind of a sad story. I was like, I was sort of like all like worked up for this story because it's so famous, and I thought it was a little depressing. Yeah, but yeah, I remember that biology book. Okay, so you left home then. How old were you?
Well, I first left.
You went to Florida.
No, the first time I went to visit my girlfriend at Batesville, she was studying to be a nurse, and she wanted me to come and do it too.
So how old were you?
I must have been 18 or 19, I don't know.
So this would have been somewhere around like 49, something like that, if I'm doing the math right. So it was after the war.
Yeah, and but I only stayed 2 weeks.
Because?
They put me, the first job, I did some teaching. They teach you on the job there. You know, it was kind of like learning on the job, and we did different things, and we learned we had to make our own Q-tips.
Yeah.
Rolled them and made our own things like that. And we learned stuff like that. And then the next week, sometime that next week I was there, they gave me a job. They were going to just put me right on the floor, see, with people. I hadn't had any experience or nothing, and I got this old man, and I had to give him a bath. And I couldn't do it. I was so scared, and he was teasing me, see.
Oh.
He knew I was just new and learning, but he teased me, and I was scared to death of me in any way. And I couldn't do it. I told Louise, I said, I can't be a nurse. I always wanted to be a teacher.
Oh yeah? Like what kind? Kids or high school or?
I just wanted to be a teacher, and I never had the opportunity, you know, to get the right kind of education because our schools only went up to the 8th grade.
Right.
But my brother, James, when he got out of the 8th grade, that teacher, Mr. Clark, he went to my dad and told him that James would make a great teacher and he would like to help him go through to college. He wanted him to come. He offered him to stay at their house and get to go to the high school. But my dad said no, he needed him on the farm. Mm. None of us ever got to go do anything but farm work.
Okay, so you lasted 2 weeks and then you left.
Yeah, I got away from there and I went back to at that time my Aunt Corey and Uncle Cleveland lived in Missouri, or lived near there, kind of and I went to their house and stayed a week or so with them, and then they come back and brought me back to Spring River there.
Going back to the hospital for a quick second, what was that like? Was it, the movies, you always see these hospitals where they just look like a house or something, and they're pretty rudimentary. They're not like hospitals today. Was that kind of what it was like? Just a little building?
Yeah, it was just a small place like that, yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Huh.
I imagine they got a big hospital there now. Batesville's a pretty good sized town.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see these shows where they're in these old hospitals like that, and you're just thinking all the germs that's there and everything, because they didn't pay attention to that all the time back then, and stuff. And not the same. Okay, so then you came back home, and then that's when you decided to go to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And what was in Florida? Do you have friends or family there, or what?
My uncle lived there. And when...
Uncle on which side of the family? Richie's side or
my
Davis'
dad's
side?
brother.
It was your dad's brother lived in Florida.
That's when reason I got acquainted, well, I knew him from before when we were kids, and even his first wife, they used to live close to us. But then they separated and got a divorce, but I knew that. But when James got out of the Army, he had saved enough money that he bought a car, a nice car. And they had, I guess his brother had invited him to come down there and visit. So we made a trip. James, Franklin, and Dad and I, three of us there. 3 of us, I think it's 3, yeah. And we made a trip down there in the car and visited him, and I got acquainted with his wife and everything, which I didn't know her before. And this was his 3rd wife, and they had a baby. She had a boy about 8, 9 years old when they married, and then they had a boy. And his name was James, but they called him Skeeter. And we were high on those things. That was where I was staying, and Michael Walsh was like a prankster, and he knew I had never seen any wild animals. What do you call them? That's
Alligators?
No, it's got a skin on it.
Armadillo?
Armadillo, probably. And he brought one of them in the house and brought it in and was going to put it in bed with me.
They were in Florida?
They were in Florida, they lived.
Huh. I thought armadillos were all in the West until much later. Huh?
Yeah, it was a scary thing, yeah. Plus we went to...
Who was this guy? This was your cousin? You said Mike Walsh? Was that who you said?
Uncle Wash, that was Dad's brother.
Oh, he's the one. Your uncle brought the armadillo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so he was a bit of a prankster, huh?
Yeah, he liked to tease.
Well, your dad was a little bit of a prankster, too. I remember him teasing Brad and stuff. So I thought you went to Florida by yourself. You went with family.
We came back. I came back home with them in the car.
Oh, okay. And then you went again.
Then that winter, I went back.
Just by yourself.
On the train.
So you took a train down there. And then how long did you stay in Florida then?
Until I went in I don't know if it's 1st November, went till March, later part of March.
Okay. And yeah, we have a picture of you somewhere, like on the beach or something. I've seen it before.
Is that the one where I'm wading in water?
I think so.
That's where I waded in the Atlantic Ocean. I got a job there. I stayed with them a while, and I hadn't make any money or anything, and so I got this chance to get the job, and that's my first job. And I was a waitress in this little restaurant, and there was a man and a woman there from Ohio, and they gave me the job because they only come down there in the winter and ran in the winter, winter months. And one weekend they took me to Miami just to show me the
big city.
Just show me. So that's when I waited, and then they stopped it. And that's when I waited in Miami.
So you never went swimming in the Atlantic?
No.
But
We just stopped there for a little while, and I waited in it just so as I could say I waited in the Atlantic Ocean.
So they were living like somewhere like in the middle of the state or something? They were away from the ocean?
The restaurant people? The restaurant?
Your uncle in the restaurant. Yeah.
Well, they lived down kind of on a lake in Howey in the Hills. Was the name of the place where they lived, and it was, I don't know how far it was. I've been able to look it up on a map and see if I could see that. And I think the town that I went to was called Traverse or Traversey or something. And this couple lived in, there was an apartment up over the restaurant, and they lived up there. And they had a little tiny room, and they let me live with them up there. And then I did waitress work for them.
But they didn't keep the restaurant open in the summer, just the winter?
They went back, I guess, to Ohio in the summer.
So they just closed the restaurant down?
I don't know if somebody else ran it during that time or what. I don't remember.
Interesting. Okay, so you were working there, you were in Florida about 5 or 6 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then you went back home,
Yeah.
and then what came next?
That's when I came to Michigan after that.
So you came back, and then you were like, oh.
Well, first I went to Illinois, where my girlfriend, the one I had that when I went to be a nurse with, and that's the one that we've been friends for 75 years, went to there. She was going to have a baby, and she wanted me to come and stay with her and help her out, you know, during that time. I went up there, but I didn't stay. That year, when it came Christmas time, I got a job there in Illinois. I had a job in a I don't know, like a Sears store. I can't remember if it was Sears Roebuck or not. I had a job there, and then I sent your dad a Christmas card.
Well, wait, how did you even know him?
Oh. Oh, you're right. You're right. I came to Michigan first, then went back home, and then wrote to Louise, and then she wanted me to come there. Then I came there because I had already met your dad and everything.
So you came up to Michigan. Did you drive up or train or what?
My aunt, Uncle Orse, or Aunt Winnie, their oldest girl, Ella, do you remember her? Her and her husband moved up here. He worked in the shop.
So
they brought after Betty was younger than me, and when she graduated that spring, she wanted me to come with her, and we both there. They had 3 kids, and Betty and I all in the car together, and we were really packed up.
So that's when Dad met Betty, because he was dating her at first, right?
Yeah, he dated her first.
And how did they meet?
She got right close to Ella's house was Wally's.
So she was at Wally's too.
Yeah.
Wally's restaurant.
Yeah, she had worked there first. He was one like the one over here in where we go, you know, where I got the root beer.
A&W?
Yeah, it was a place like that where you bring out the trays and everything and like that and worked outside. It wasn't an inside thing.
Oh. So
And
she was like
only,
a car hop.
They were only open in the summer.
Okay.
Summer, see, and they closed in the winter. That's how come I went back home and then came back. That's right.
I remember that now. I remember you talking about that. So Dad just came as a customer and met her and they started dating.
Mm-hmm.
But it was owned by Wally's?
They were what?
The drive-in restaurant was a Wally's?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they had a drive-in.
Yeah, that was before they ever had that through the other restaurants.
And then, so you were working there too, right? So Dad
Yeah.
met you through Betty.
Yeah, I started to there, and your dad went to church, and his family went to church at Hopewell, the old Hopewell, and he invited us to come, and we both came. We worked till 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got up and went to church. And when we did that, the pastor had us to stand up and tell all the old people that we worked till 3 o'clock, but then came to church. I think he was trying to shame them or something.
That's funny. Okay. So you met Dad, but he was dating your cousin. But you went back to home.
Yeah, after that, that's right. After that, when they closed it in that summer ending, that's when I went to Illinois.
So you were working with Betty, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the Walleys. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then you went back home. Then you went to Louisa's to help her with the baby.
Yeah.
And then you sent Dad a Christmas card.
Yeah, that's.
So why'd you send him a Christmas card? Were you sweet on him?
Well, he was I went out with him a couple of times.
Oh, he dated you too.
He gave up Betty and dated me.
Well, I knew that happened. I just didn't know the order it was
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
quit dating, and then he asked you out,
Mm-hmm.
or did you ask him out?
No, he asked me to.
Okay. All right. While you were working there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah. So okay. So you guys went on some dates. What kind of dates did you go on? Did you go to a movie or dinner or park or?
I think we went to a movie. I'm not sure. I can't even remember. Mm.
It was a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
It was a couple of years ago. So.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So you went on a few dates. You came back. You sent him a postcard for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? You went back to Michigan again, or he came down to see you? I remember he came down to see you at one
He came
point.
down to see me,
He's like, hey, this
Oh,
chick sent me a postcard.
We were writing, after I sent him the postcard, we were writing back and forth to each other.
Oh, you were writing letters back and forth.
Yeah, and then he came down to see me, and we was driving around and went out. He parked on the bridge of Rock River in Illinois. That's where he proposed to me.
Was down there.
Uh-huh.
So you never went back to Michigan. He came down and was like,
Until after that, and then he went back home, and we kept riding back and forth, and he got me to come. He wanted me to come back up there, so I left her and came back to Michigan.
so you accepted the proposal, I presume.
Yeah.
And then you guys were writing letters back and forth
Uh-huh.
for a bit.
Yeah, and I went on the bus and went back to Michigan.
And then where did you stay up here in Michigan then?
I had an apartment at, I think it was on 12th Street, downtown Flint.
Huh?
And
Where were you working at that point?
I didn't have a job.
So how were you affording an apartment?
Well, I knew I was going to run out of money, and we decided to go ahead and get married quick.
Oh, wow.
And they had a daughter, the couple that was, and she helped me plan everything and choose something to wear to the wedding, and we went ahead and got married. We got married in February the 18th.
Who's this? Who was helping you?
Just a girl that I met there that lived at the apartment.
Oh, okay. So it was like a house with multiple apartments in it or something?
I think there was 2 apartments there, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's kind of weird because, like, Julie and I met at Wally's.
You did?
Yeah, you didn't know that? Or
Uh-uh.
forgotten it?
No, I didn't know that. I thought you met at Vicky's.
At Wally's with Vicky.
Was Vicky working there then?
Yeah.
Oh, but it wasn't that place. The
Wasn't a drive-in.
wasn't the drive-in place.
No,
They
it was-
closed that down and built 2
Yeah,
after I finally quit working there.
right.
I worked there after we got married. I started right back to work, and I worked there until Vicky was about 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
And that's when he was watching her. See, I went in at work at 3 o'clock and worked till probably 3 in the morning, close, where it slowed down, somebody got to go home earlier before that, sometimes not. And that's when your dad was supposed to be watching her, and he worked nights, but he would get up, to study and stuff. And well, she got to where she learned how to open the door, and she walked all the way up to Saginaw Street in her pajamas, bare feet, and some woman picked her up in the middle of the street, and they called the police. And all she would tell the police was, my mama works at Wally's. The policeman brought her up there. I was just like, I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I called your dad up from Wally's phone, and I says, "Where's your daughter? Where's Vicky?" And he couldn't say nothing. He just, he had missed her, and he didn't know. Finally, I felt sorry for him, and I said, "She's here." She had before that. She went, and I don't know how she got out, but she slipped away, and she was going to Grandma and Grandpa's house that time.
I remember that story.
Yeah, well, that one. So, but this was the second time.
Somebody found her that time too and called the police.
No, they missed her, and her grandpa and grandma were driving back forth the road that we traveled from their house, and they found her.
Dad's parents.
They found her beside the road.
So did Dad move into that apartment with you, or did you guys just move into another place?
No, we didn't have no place to go, so we moved. They made it. There was an apartment upstairs where his mom and dad lived there, and we moved in that.
But not that house on Knickerbocker, or was it that one?
No, that was their home. It was on Princeton.
Or Princeton, that's what I meant, sorry. So that was, you guys lived up there on Princeton and above it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, in that little tiny apartment. I remember that apartment.
You do?
Oh yeah.
How could you remember that?
When I was a kid, Aunt Brenda and Uncle Jim lived up there, and they babysat me a few times.
Oh,
That's where I first saw Star Trek.
you first what?
Saw Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't get Star Trek in our house,
Oh,
but they could, and they were babysitting me, and I saw Star Trek.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then they moved out, but I remember being up there several times even after that. I don't remember if they just didn't have anybody up there for a while.
Well, probably because they may not have had. But Jerry and Anita lived up there
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, but I think that's before I can remember.
No. Well, anyway, they.
So you guys were living above that place on Princeton. This
Yeah.
is where Vicky walked away from?
No.
Was on Princeton?
No. We moved when she was just, I don't know. She was just big enough to like walk up and look out of the window like that. I don't know. She must have been about probably close to 2 years old. And we bought that house on Knickerbocker. And then we lived there. That's where she ran away from.
Oh, okay. So when she was born, you guys were living with Grandma and Grandpa.
Uh-huh.
And then when I was born and Brad was born, we were on Knickerbocker.
Right.
I can remember Brad coming home from the hospital.
Really? You were just 4 years old.
It's one of my earliest memories. You know what I remember? I remember you had him up on the kitchen table and you must have been changing his diaper or something, and his stem on his belly button came off.
Oh. Maybe
You
that's
see, that
what,
probably shocked me as a kid, and that's why I remember it.
that's what I was saying. Must be some why you remembered it.
Let's see, you and Dad got married in 53.
56.
56, I'm sorry. Dad graduated from high school in 53. You guys got married in 56, and then Vicky was born in 58. And then I was 63 and Brad was 67.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, do you want to stop there? This is 47 minutes.
I
We've
don't
been
know.
talking. We'll
You're-
do another session.
You're the worker. You're the boss.
Well, what I'd like to do is at least two more sessions, or maybe one. We could talk more about, like, after this, right? Like raising us kids and stuff like that. That'd be good to hear some stories about and things. Yeah, so we can, and then something you can think about. I thought might be good. This might be a good way to end the video set. Is there's a very old Jewish tradition of what's called an ethical will. And people would write down like things I've learned in life and like advice to their family and things like this. And it actually got read after they died.
You're not going to show this, are you?
What?
After I die.
Huh?
After I die?
Well, that's the whole point of these videos. You know, Mason and Aowen, right?
Juniper.
Juniper, sorry. Yeah, Juniper Aowen. You know, they're really young now. They'll be able to see these when they're older and be able to appreciate them more. And if I ever have any grandkids or whatever, then they'll be able to see them too. But anyway, so I was thinking a nice way to end this is maybe you could just share like wisdom from your life with people. So you could be thinking about that. We'll do another session. I think people would like to hear that.
Are you recording this too?
That's all being recorded. That was a really good session.
You really think so?
Yeah. I really enjoyed you telling the stories and laughing. It's like that. I think everybody's gonna really love this. Like I told you, all the kids are like, "This is awesome. Keep doing them." So we'll do at least one more. We'll see. I wish we had done this like with Dad when he was retired and stuff. You know, all these things that we should have done, could have done, would have done. Of course, we didn't have the technology back then necessarily either.
That reminds me, you know, shut that off.
I could stop it right now.